Hello, it's Dan from ExecUtron Development Corporation. In today's video, I'm going to show you some undocumented tips and tricks in PIMS that'll hopefully make your experience a little bit easier. Let's start off by looking at the PIMS date chooser that's used throughout the program. Let's go ahead and use the one here for orders. Standard date chooser, and again this is used for finding a selection of records by date range or processes, etc. And for those of you that don't know, you simply click on the calendar area here to select date ranges, or you could manually type it in. It'll default to today's date. And click on the 10th. We start at the 10th. This little X right here means that this is the field that's going to get filled in next, and I could pick the 30th. Here you could select different months, different years, etc. Down here, there's specialty items, like how many days since Monday, and year-to-date, things of that nature. Or you can pick all time. This will just find everything that you're looking for. Now here's some tips and tricks. If I hit the T as in Tom key, T, that's today's date. If I hit a Y, that's yesterday's date. If I hit a W, that will show the last weekend. And you look here, the 5th through the 7th is Friday through Sunday. So anybody pulling a daily transaction report, it's Monday morning, you hit a W, it's going to find the weekend for you. And if I hit the right arrow key, it will increment the date by 1 day. And if I hit the left arrow key, it will decrement it by 1 day. If I hit the down arrow key, it'll copy the starting date down to the ending date. And if I hit the up arrow key, it will do just the inverse. It will copy the ending date up to the starting date. And the most important one, if you hit the D key, it is how old I am. I'm 20,912 days old, and most of that has been spent designing and writing PIMS. I'm going to show you a nifty little printing trick for when you print out orders. So let's go ahead and bring up an order. And in PIMS, you can optionally create your own output templates. You can create your own printed invoice templates, quotes, sales orders, purchase orders, service repair orders, etc. You can also create many of the same kind, like you can create as many invoice templates as you like. Now normally when you print an invoice, you just click on the print button down here and print it out. But let's say for whatever reason, for this particular invoice, you wanted to pick a different print template. Well, instead of clicking this, you right-click it. And if you right-click it, in this case, you will see all of your available invoice templates. You select one, and it will print out using that template just for this one print time. And if this were a sales order, for instance, then you would only see sales orders. We only have the stock one here. And again, invoice, if we had a bunch of them in there, you can choose what you like. Normally when you enter a zip code in PIMS, for instance on an order, it will look up the city for you. However, if you hold down the Shift key when entering a zip code and tab out of it, it will ask you if you'd like to find customer by zip code. And it will bring up a customer chooser of anyone that belongs to that particular zip code. Obviously, there are so many other ways to load a customer on here, but again, this is a hidden feature, and as long as you don't have too many in a particular zip code, you can load the customer by that. I'm going to show you a hidden trick for printing the daily transaction report. Let's go ahead and pull one up, pick today, continue. Now normally when you hit print, PIMS will prompt you once with the operating system's print dialog box, and then it will use whatever setting for all these different print jobs. Now, however, if I hold down the Shift key when hitting print, then I am going to see this print job or print dialog for every print job for the daily transaction report. And that allows you to choose different printers for different parts of the report, or some printers, especially older printers, might need to have that come up for every print job to get it printed properly. I'm going to show you a slick trick for assigning particular parameters like price to a specific product in your inventory based on its serial number. Let's say that you have a bunch of items. One of them happens to be open box, and you'd like to sell that at a reduced price. Well, instead of having a post-it on the machine or on the box itself saying, hey, sell this for $10 less, you can actually do it with serial number if the item is serialized. So let's go ahead and create one of those. I'm going to go and create a serial number record. I'll just call it 1234 for a serial number. And let's assign this to our Paris Works. Now then, modify order bypass data. If I click on this, then I can set a different price for it. I'll say, well, let's sell this at 20 bucks. It's open. We're not going to change its cost or anything like that. Now we could assign a different category to it, and that category could be open items. That could belong to a different chart of account if you want, things of that nature. We can even change the name to, hey, Paris Works open box. We can put a note here for the salesperson if we want. This is used, whatever we like. And I'm going to activate that bypass data. Again, we have a video on showing how to do discounting in PIMS, and this has gone over in a little more detail, but I wanted to add it to this video as kind of a highlight. So we've got it saved. And now I'm going to bring up an order. And let's say it's for Anderson Hardware. And I'm going to put a Paris Works on here just by itself. And it's $45. Now, I'm going to enter another Paris Works, but I'm going to enter it by the serial number. So I scan in the serial number, and this is the message that came up that was associated with that serial number. And you'll notice the price here is $20 instead of the normal $45. And again, I could have changed the description to say Paris Works, special open box, whatever. Anyhow, that's just a slick way of being able to assign a specific price to a specific item. Even if it doesn't have a serial number, you could print out a serial number on the box. You could write a serial number, make up something on there, so that if they enter that here instead of the part code, you are guaranteed to get the special price for that specific item. Seeing as how we're on the topic of special pricing for special items, I'm going to show you or touch briefly on the jobs function in PIMS. Again, this is covered in more detail in another video, but I'd at least like to touch on it here. So let's get right to it. I'm going to go ahead and create a quote for Anderson Hardware. And I'm going to sell them Paris Works at, let's see, $30. And let's sell them something else. How about any service that they have done? Let's go ahead and I'm going to cut the hourly rate from $65 down to $50. Okay, I've sent this quote out to them. They've accepted it. And let's say I brought it back up. Now, obviously, you'd have items like building materials or things of that nature on here. But we're working with what we have. So I'm going to go up to Records, Send Items to Job Record. Now, they don't have any jobs currently associated with them, or it would have asked me if I'd like to create a new one or add to an existing job. Here, I'm just going to create a new one. Let's call it Santa Rosa. It could be a job number, whatever you want it to be. And create. Okay. Let's go ahead and save this. Now let's go to the jobs file. And here's the job that was just created. And it can have a starting, ending date. Here are the contracted prices. We could put a maximum number they can get at this price. We could add more products here. We don't have to necessarily do it from a quote. Authorized salespeople, only certain people can come in and buy at that price, etc. Again, we go over this in more detail on another video. So let's go ahead and be done with that, and let's go ahead and I'm going to create an order. And I'm going to enter Anderson Hardware on there. And now it's coming up and saying, hey, there's a job associated. And again, we could have multiple jobs per customer. We just have the one here. I'm going to load it. Now, when I go over here to sell them a Paris Works, the price is our agreed to $30. And when I sell them Wilma Jackson Teaches, oh no, it was Service, it comes over as $50 an hour and not $65. And again, there's different parameters and whatnot we could set on the job record, but this is a really neat way of fixing particular items to a particular customer. And again, it could be a particular number of items, a particular date range, and particular people that can come in here and purchase it. Now I'm going to show you some record relation functions in PIMS that you may or may not know about. They come in really handy, especially when you're doing marketing, or let's say you had a product recall or something you needed to get a hold of people. So I'm just going to pull up an order listing here that I had last. And here's all these particular orders. I could have found all the orders that had a particular part on them or what have you. So I'm going to select these. And I simply come down here and I could say, produce a customer listing. And these are all the customers associated with these particular orders. Another thing I could do is I could say, I would like to see all the inventory associated with these orders. So let's go ahead and we can do the same thing with inventory if we want. I'll just do today's modified. And I'm going to grab these items. Let's say there's a recall on these items and I need to find all customers who have purchased these items. So I can come here and say produce customer listing. And here's a list of all the customers. I could grab them. And I could do things like bulk email these selected customers. I'll pick a template, greetings. And this could be our recall template if we want. Let's take a look at it here. It fills it all out, puts our logo. In this case, this particular template will give them a 30% discount. So let's say that these are products that belong to a particular category. We want them to buy more of that category. So we're giving them a 30% discount. Anyhow, that is the beauty of being able to associate one listing to another. Again, based on the selection options. Really nice feature. Some of you might not realize that PIMS can actually tie to a variety of e-commerce sites, especially ShopSite Pro through Lexicon. An excellent e-commerce site for selling things on the web. And PIMS can automatically upload inventory and download orders. Again, that's handled in a different video, but I just wanted to touch on it here. I could do something as simple. I've already set it up in PIMS, obviously. I could just come here and say import online orders. Download. I'll just say, let's start with the very first one. We just have 6 of them on there. And now I just say list unprocessed orders. And these were downloaded directly from the web. Credit card, everything processed. Really a neat feature. And it works seamlessly in PIMS. Sometimes in PIMS, it might be necessary to enter a serial number that you can't find in the system. Now, obviously, we have passwording for that sort of thing, so not everybody can add missing serial numbers on the fly. But if you're at a point of sale terminal and there's an item and for whatever reason that serial number didn't make it into your system, you need to sell it. We don't want to impede the sale. So to do that, you double click on a line item. And normally you would hit select and select from a group of serial numbers that you have in the system. However, and again, if you belong to a particular password group, if you hold down the Shift key when you click on select, you're given a choice of importing. Again, you could import a whole bunch of them from a text file, or you could manually enter one. I'll just manually enter. And let's say the serial number is 5678. I could enter another one if I want. I'm not going to. Now, when this invoice posts to the system, it will automatically create this serial number listing. Well, here, let's just go ahead and do it. I'm going to do that. Save. Let's bring that order back up. Let's go ahead and let's manually post it. Now let's go and visit the serial number file. List all here. And here's the one we just did. And it said added directly from order number blah, blah, blah. So again, if you're really good about getting your serial numbers entered on your receiving records, you don't need to do this. But this function does exist for those emergencies where you need to sell an item and you don't want to have to go hunt down purchasing and have them put the serial number in the system. You'd like to make the sale. And one more time, this is password protected. It's often necessary for particular customers to email things such as orders or bulk emailing, even statements to multiple personnel at a particular company. Let me show you a trick for doing that. Go into Anderson Hardware here. All you have to do is in either of their emails, bill to, ship to, is simply put a comma and put another email address in. And you can put as many as you like here within reason, up to 250 characters, I think, total. And the same thing over here. Now, anytime we email anything to this customer, it's going to go to both of these email addresses. There's also another way you can do this. I'll go to secondary contacts. These are all the different contacts in the company. You can put an email, and then you have checkboxes here. I would like, every time an order is emailed, I want it to go to this person as well. Every time a statement, a billing statement is emailed, I want it to go to this person. And again, all you have to do is just check these boxes. And these people will always get a copy of these particular emails. Sometimes in PIMS, well, if not often in PIMS, you'd like to make sure that the customer address that you've entered in there is accurate. And by accurate, I mean accurate as far as the U.S. Postal Service is concerned, especially if you're shipping them something. So what you can do is you've entered an address in here, and if you want to make sure that it's accurate, simply click on this icon here, and PIMS has gone ahead, looked it up, put the 4-digit extension on the zip code, gave proper spelling and abbreviation to the address, and so on. Really neat feature for being able to make sure that the address you're shipping to is accurate before you do anything else. The service repair order also has an address verification icon on it, so you can verify the address there. Now, the service repair order also has a couple of other features dealing with address, especially when you're sending technicians out on the road. You can get an address map by clicking that, and it will show you the address of where you need to go, and you can get directions and everything from there. And also, you can do a street view. And by clicking on this icon, you can actually get a Google Street View of the location. And to verify that it's a real address before you go out there, see what it looks like, that sort of thing. And again, you can do directions from this as well. Anyhow, really makes it easy for your service people when they have to go out on calls. Well, that's it for now. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I look forward to doing the next video. Thanks, and talk to you next time.